Oh, anyway, that's something for people to try. Dungeon Dash, console, RPG.
So you tried it?
Oh no, I just installed it, but I didn't try it.
Oh, all right.
I got something happened during installation. I think I got a call from work or something. I guess I should have made that clear. I didn't ever actually play it. So this isn't really a review for the game.
All right, welcome to episode 251 of the LinuxLUGcast. We're an open podcast /lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. We encourage anyone listening to join us and participate on the podcast. Check out LinuxLUGcast.com for the server details. If you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like us to discuss and are unable to join us live during the show, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. You can check out us on Lemmy. You can join the conversation on Matrix. You can check out a video version of this on YouTube and Peertube. Links for everything is in the show notes or over at linuxlugcast.com. I'm your host for this evening, Honkey Magoo. With us tonight is Joe.
Yep, I'm here.
Do I introduce Lugbot?
Sure.
Why is there a +5 next to his name?
Oh.
Should it be a -5?
Where do you see a +5?
To the right of his name.
I don't see it on my end.
Maybe it's on my end. Maybe it's because I had muted him before when you had last time when you had him.
Well, he's
all the sound in the room was going through him while you were getting ready.
You can introduce Lugbot.
We have Lugbot.
That is so that 1 in 5 women suffer from mental illness.
I have no idea what you said, but I'm pretty sure it was probably inappropriate.
It's always fun.
That is so that 1 in 5 women suffer from mental illness.
You have something else you wanted to say?
Which means the other 4 out of 5 women must enjoy it.
There's Lugbot. Kind of.
Minnix,
Yes.
that explains why your significant other is a cat.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And my cat is a boy. No other woman would live with me, not even a female cat.
Oh my.
Okay.
All right. Minnix.
That's me, the single man. I'm single, ladies.
Hello, everyone.
Netminer.
Hello, friends. By the way, that last guy is Morton C. Soon to be unsingle, ladies.
That's right.
You snooze, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Origami in the room. He's muted at the moment, but if he wants to chime in and say hi, he's more than welcome to.
Or not.
He's maybe just listening. That's cool.
And we have David in the
Jitsi. Yep.
And I'm trying to help him get in the Mumble.
Oh, okay.
Try the Mumble web.
Yeah, that's true. It should work. I haven't tested it in a long time.
Origami says hi in
link?
chat. It's on the website. It's very small in the corner. It's not
LugcastWeb.Minnix.dev.
I gotta fix the way it looks, but it is there.
Oh, we have on Random Tech News, we have Elon Musk supposedly has bought Tesla, has bought Ford as well.
What? Are you serious? Or is this a joke?
That appears to be what YouTube is promoting these days.
Elon Musk has bought Ford?
Maybe they'll actually start making cars That would be shocking.
There's no way that's true. I don't know what YouTube you're watching, but
The channel is called Garage Head. Supposedly 9 hours ago, Elon Musk dug into Ford.
Do your research.
okay, I'll do my research. I'm sorry. I'm not researching it.
One of the things that shows me that they really need Elon is a Ford executive was talking about America's love affair with small cars.
Is that true?
Now,
All I see
now-
is SUVs here in Texas.
well,
Big
that's
trucks.
just it. There are no small American-made small cars in the $20,000-$25,000 range. It's all $50,000 and up.
That is true.
A lot of people are priced out of the market because they're selling these Luxo barges that would make a Cadillac blush.
A friend of mine just bought a new Chevrolet Malibu, I believe, and it's smaller than I thought it would be. But Chevy said this year is the last year they're making the Chevy Malibu, so maybe they want to make smaller cars. I don't know. But yeah, if you want a small car, you got to get a Japanese car or a Korean car.
Yeah, you can't buy a small truck anymore because they don't freaking make them.
Yeah. Well, a Maverick, that Ford has that Maverick small.
Yeah.
You can get a smaller
Is
Tacoma.
it small?
Tacomas aren't small. I've got a Tacoma. Even the new Tacomas are basically what a F-150 used to be. And
Really?
the Tundras are like giant. Yeah.
'Cause I had a Tacoma, well, it was obviously older, but
Yeah.
those were pretty small. It was a single cab, and it was
Older. Can't
Look
get
at-
a modern vehicle or a modern truck that is small. Even
Yeah,
the Ford Rangers are friggin' huge, especially
Yeah.
if
Are
you
they
compare
really?
them to what they used to be.
The Maverick, I think, is the only small truck you can get now.
Yeah,
I think
No.
Toyota is coming out. Well, they talked about coming out with one called the Stout that they sell overseas. So if
stout.
yeah, Toyota Stout.
actually, even if you look at a Jeep these days, it's grown, it's grown pretty good size, and moreover, besides the size, the price is, sticker shockville.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you seen those Jeep trucks?
Yeah, what are they called? The
don't know.
Gladiator or something?
I don't know.
I've seen them.
I think they just took a Jeep and slapped a bed to the end of it.
Basically. But I do want to get that new Ford. That I want to look at it when I get back from vacation. I've got 252,000 miles on my Tacoma. I'm just breaking it in.
I want a truck, but I can't afford one.
Well, the Mavericks start at like 26,000, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
that's cheap.
Yeah, and that's with the base engine, which is a hybrid engine. It's 40 miles a gallon.
Who makes the Maverick?
Ford.
Oh, Ford.
Yeah. The Ford Maverick. Do you remember the old Ford Maverick? It was a car. It was between the Pinto and the Mustang. It was called the Maverick, and it was their mid-range car. Sports car, I guess. My aunt had one.
Yeah, I can't get this off without an air gun. And I'm going to need some resistant tape, which I have the heat resistant tape, but I do not have a proper air gun.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Hey, Danny, in the Mumble web, how do you move from the root into the Lugcast room?
I think you just have to click it. Click the room.
Click on her ticket. Oh.
Double click the room name. Okay, thank you.
Did it work?
It
Okay.
did.
All right, cool. What do we got here?
Well, does anybody else have any other projects or things that they're working on? I know you
Yeah,
and
I
what else
read-
you working on?
I've been gradually replacing the I've been gradually going to mini computers for my desktops.
Like the 1 liters?
Yeah, the 1 liters, and I've been slowly retiring the i7s that I got because I want to make Proxmox or other VM support systems out of them because they have more threads. One machine that I ordered was supposed to be a Lenovo 700, and it turned out to be a 920. And I have another Lenovo, which is interesting because the power supply is 2-wire. It is not a 3-wire plug. And this one came out with an interesting arrangement of video outputs. 1 VGA, 1 HDMI, and 1 DisplayPort. I haven't tested the HDMI or DisplayPort, but this is an i5, or is it an i3, 8100, 80 something or other. Anyway, it's 4 cores, and I'm saving my 8-core stuff for VM server and stuff like that.
What about the Raspberry Pis? How are they doing?
I haven't done much with the Raspberry Pis yet. I will probably put my 5 as a lightweight desktop because it just has the power for it, and my 4s will go into some kind of server when I get around to doing that. Right now, since it's been cooling off a bit, I've been dealing with parts of my property where the sumac and Japanese knotweed and other stuff have been taking over, so I've been trying to cut down the jungle around the edges of my property and in my backyard. I've been saving a lot of the computer stuff for when it's too foul out for outdoor work.
Should we do the listener feedback real quick?
Sure.
Go for it.
Let me see. I've got some Creative Commons intro music here. Let me see if this works. Huh. Or not. It says license-free music. By the way, we probably need to get into the what's going to happen to Internet Archive too. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to viewer feedback.
Well, that's the best out of all of our music.
Hey,
It
man.
was a little bit loud, but
I worked really hard on our music. Okay, so it's not anything huge. They took the time to comment, so I wanted to read it. On the reverse proxy video, Mr. L. Big Mac, I don't know. It says, I have a video of turning my Android phone into a reverse proxy. While connected to any hotspot, I could pivot Metasploit onto a network. Does anybody know what that means?
One more time.
It says, I have a video of turning my Android phone into a reverse proxy. While connected to any hotspot, I could pivot Metasploit onto a network.
Well, Metasploit is a hacking tool.
right.
He says he uses his Android phone as a reverse proxy. I don't understand what that has to do with hacking. Anyway, next comment. This is the same video. Proxy servers are as old as the internet. As described, these were a prelude to routers and firewalls. That is still used in places like Asia, so they can access the internet if internet routing is blocked. Interesting presentation. Sacrilicious says, I couldn't get past the humps and ums. Insufferable. Okay.
Wow.
50 pull-up says, what a scatterbrained explanation.
Hey. It wasn't a very well thought out.
Well, it was just kind of on the spot, you know.
Yeah. Well, we had talked about doing it, and all of a sudden, I'm like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Stop talking about doing it and just do it.
Leon Paul says, I'm watching here, all caps. I don't know what that means. On the Star Labs tablet review, he says, which I thought we did give a review, Admiral Bison says, can we have a review of this tablet? I've been interested in ordering a Linux tablet, but I've seen really no reviews and am concerned about shipping times from a small outlet. But Mortensey did review it. That's what the video was.
Right?
On viewer feedback and Star Labs responds, Et Philosopher says, I have a Star Labs MK5. The keyboard and touchpad aren't great, but it's powerful, uses core boot, and works beautifully with Thunderbolt. I've asked their customer service several questions about Thunderbolt connectivity issues, software updates for non-standard distros, and possible part upgrades, and they've always been very responsive and helpful. I wouldn't hesitate to buy another device from them. There you go, a glowing review of Star Labs. There's the review that what's his face wanted, Admiral Bison. That's all the feedback we got. A little bit of negative feedback, but it's okay. We don't linger on those.
I do. That's all I can think about now.
Don't let it ruin your day, Honky.
Just so you know, you got that background light thing again, where occasionally you just have like this red glow,
Oh, I sure
red
do.
sparkly glow from the light behind you.
Well, like that? You
Yeah,
see
that's it.
Yeah. Okay. I need to just be right here.
Don't move.
I won't move.
You're gonna screw it all up. Stop breathing heavy.
Let us know how you screwed it all up.
Yeah, I need to move the mic away. What is that video? I move away from the mic so I can breathe. The chocolate rain. Remember that? Old internet.
Chocolate rain?
You don't remember chocolate rain?
No.
Do you remember that, Joe?
No.
Chocolate rain.
Chocolate rain. Some stay dry and others feel the pain. Chocolate rain.
Y'all don't remember that?
A baby
Hey,
born will die
Sunday.
before the sin. Chocolate rain.
This was 17 years
The school
ago.
books
This was
say it
uploaded.
can't be here again. Chocolate rain.
I was not
The
expecting that voice.
prisons make you wonder where it went. Chocolate rain.
Anyway,
I was not expecting that voice. That's all I can say.
some people will get it.
All right, back to Linux.
Enough chocolate rain.
Oh my!
So you did anybody have any projects? I was going to get into something, but anything else you want to tell us about
So-
your computers,
Yeah.
Netminer? Or were you done? Still with us, isn't he?
He muted, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I think you scared him away with the chocolate rain.
Probably did. I'm sorry about that.
Way to go.
My bad. What were you going to say, Honkey?
I have a question actually, and those of you who are better at Python than me, which is all of you, so VENV, then virtual environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I start up Stable Diffusion, I'm starting up Stable Diffusion using one of the methods, which is to start up a VNV environment, and I can't get the script to just run at boot. I've tried cron. I've created a nice script. I've tried cron. Cron won't do it. And then but if I just SSH into the server and I go into the directory and start and run the script, it'll run. But the problem is it stays, whatever I did to run it, unless I use something like screen. It'll just stay. I'll have to keep that thing running. So I tried. I've done before where I've had scripts running and I've used a Control Z and then set it to run in the background. I've tried that, but it basically kills it. Like it seems like the website of it is still running, but it won't execute anything or really work right anymore because I got out of it. Is there a way to exit out of a running VNV environment where and then still keep it running?
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to look how I installed it because it started at boot. I had it starting at boot. Give me one second here. Post the link. I'll show you the instructions. I did.
Which you can do a init script or a systemd, and you can have it run at boot.
Well, the running at boot isn't necessarily I don't know. It doesn't seem to want to start up, and I'm not sure why. That's part of the problem. But the fact that I don't know how to get out of a running VNV session.
The ENV session.
The virtual environment that it runs in.
Yeah.
The Python
So
virtual environment.
but because it doesn't start at boot, I'll go into their SSH and then I'll run the script, which does everything to set up the environment and then start it. But it stays there on the screen. And again, unless I use something like screen or something like that, I can't. I want to get out of it but keep it running in the background.
Oh, okay. I installed Stable Diffusion via the web UI. The automatic with the 4 ones or whatever.
So you just basically ran the automatic 111. That I installed the same thing, but there's 3 different ways to run it. One's through the Docker container, one's through the and if this thing would cooperate, let's see. Hold on. So there's the automatic installation, which is the way I was running it before, which is all you had to do was run the web UI script, and then there's running natively, and that's the way I've got it to work right now. Is I follow the step. I have a bash script set up that follows all the steps in the running natively section, and it sets up, like I said, the VNV environment and then runs it. There's another way that's running it in Docker, but looking at all of the steps to be able to run it in a Docker container seemed like a pain in the balls, so I didn't do that.
I know I didn't use Docker either. I thought I had it bookmarked, but maybe it was for Olama I bookmarked.
You can just probably Google automatic 111 on the GitHub page.
Well, here's running via systemd. You modify the end of webui.sh to put a U between 2 commands. It seems to work as expected when systemd launches it. Have you tried making a service with systemd? System control?
Not this time around, no.
Maybe look at that thread. Because it said that they're saying they had to modify the web UI script a little bit to run it as a service. So I guess there's not an official, says there's no official service documentation, but apparently this works. Control to after you add the service to systemd, enable it.
Hey Honky, you want to work on a project together and make a service for Stable Diffusion and put it in a LugCast lab Git repository for other people?
Would be a good idea.
That'll get us listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't this work on my machine?
Yeah. Too many ums.
How come this isn't working? I'm running the latest Windows 11 and I just can't get it to work. How do you get to systemd on Windows 11?
You beat me to my punchline.
Oh, okay. Guarantee that would be in there. So the answer is I don't have an answer. I thought I had it running at boot. Maybe I didn't. It's been so long, and it pretty much like overheated my machine every time somebody used it. Crashed multiple times. Didn't have the new power. But me and Lovecraft used it a few times.
I've had pretty good luck with it. I've downloaded from that site. I downloaded a couple of. Oh, good lord! I can't even think this evening. I'm forgetting what they're called. Checkpoints. I downloaded a couple of checkpoints and used that to create some images and stuff. I actually have a lot of images that I wanted to use for when I finally start trying to get the game going.
That's what I was about to ask you. Have you done any new artwork for the?
Well, yeah, I got all
game?
sorts. Yep.
Ooh.
All sorts, because I took all the. I took a lot of the. You remember when we were on here and Lovecraft and I were going back and forth making little werewolf images?
Yeah.
I took actually all of those, and I took a couple of other ones that I made, and I just—it's all different styles of werewolf images. I just took all of them, and I just deleted all the backgrounds and basically made them usable images.
Cool.
I have a bunch of right now. I'm kind of working on trying to generate some images for like backgrounds.
Yeah.
Because what you could do, which I gotta look more into, is you basically can take a background, an image of a background, and kind of cut it up into different squares, and then use those different squares to paint the background. Because
Right.
each little square, each little tile, it's like each square is like a little tile that the character would move on. So they have like different preset ones that you can play with that have like regular, things that look like ground and whatnot. But I saw where somebody took like he was himself an artist, so he spent a lot of time drawing these pictures, and then he took a picture of it, integrated it into it, and then cut it up into many pieces, and then took all those pieces and put it onto the screen as like the background of what his character was walking around on. So that's kind of what I want to do. So I have a general layout or general idea of how I want the game to go, and I have several images for bosses or enemies and bosses and stuff like that. I've deleted all the backgrounds and stuff, so it's just all you'll see is the character. And now I'm working on backgrounds, and I gotta get a couple more. So I wanted to keep it relatively basic, and I'm not sure whether it's going to wind up, depending on how long the game would take from beginning to end with the outline that I have. It's either going to be a very quick game or it's going to be like one part of a larger game. Either way, I want to get something together. But it's been fun playing with. I've had a lot of fun creating different images for different things, tweaking different things. I gotta work more on wording for prompts, and there's some things that I can put bat into some checkpoints, and it'll show an actual bat, like the animal bat. I'll put animal bat into one of them. There's a checkpoint that's really popular called was it Pony XL. It's a lot of people use it, and a lot of people use it as a basis for other ones. But I put in like the animal bat. It has absolutely no idea. I think I put in werewolf, and it gave me some really good werewolf images. But like a bat, it had a hard time with. So I had to go to try to find some other checkpoints. Yeah, just been playing around with it now that I've actually gotten it working again. Background images are going to be difficult. I got a couple that look interesting, but it's going to be, for it to be the background, I gotta figure out how to tell it, because like if the character's walking from left to right, most things that want to generate an image is almost like first person, like looking up towards a street, or like straight down the path, as opposed to looking sideways at the path.
Right.
The character will be moving left to right. So I got to figure out how to word that so it'll do that. But that's the fun of playing with it. because
Have
I
you done-
can't draw. I can't draw worth of shit.
Have you done any image to image?
I have done image to image. I played around
Ah.
with a little bit of image to image because when I read it, it is gonna help you get a better image or something closer to what you're looking for because it's trying to mimic that image. I had a little bit of luck with it. I gotta play with it a little bit more. I'm trying to find a checkpoint for that I really like for like backgrounds and stuff, and I might use image to image to give a better aspect for the better image or that I want. But I heard somebody word image to image as just the best way to get as close to what you want as possible because it's using that as your prompts. Well, yeah, like a giant suggestion. I got what was it called? I was playing with last week, Wayless. I got it working.
Yeah.
It,
So that was with the, you can use a tablet as a drawing device for your
Yes.
PC, right?
yes. Yeah, basically it was just a way to connect to your the tablet to your computer, and it worked. It was kind of geared towards the idea of the drawing device. I got that to work. Actually, right after the show, I think I was talking with you when I had to restart the computer, and after I restarted the computer, it started working fine.
Hmm.
Surprisingly, though, I didn't wind up using it to do most of my image editing. I used my phone's got a little stylus to it, and I used a paint program on my phone. Not open source, so I'm not going to name it. Can't even find it at the moment anyway, so I used it, and it did a really good job of deleting the background so I can, have it as a image for the game.
Yeah. Was it one that you could just tell it delete the background? You didn't have to outline anything?
Yeah, that's kind of what it did, and the bucket, I can just have it as the bucket do delete background, and because it had that, I was able to do everything just worked so much quicker doing it that way, and so I was able to speed through a bunch of images. I couldn't hear you.
So what's the next step?
Like I said, mostly working on backgrounds right now, and then after backgrounds, I may just jump into trying to get everything. Just start go back to RPG Maker and just put it all into RPG Maker and start working on. Actually, you know what? I gotta figure out how to. Well, I'm gonna get stuff for my actual sprites. Got a bunch of images. So you have the sprite is usually your main character who's walking around on the screen and stuff. So if it's walking around, you have to think of it like the old Final Fantasy game where you have the sprite of like one character walking around the screen, and then out of nowhere the screen will start flashing, and then it'll show the fight scene. And the fight scene is a larger picture of it'll have the sprite on the scene, and then it'll have like this picture of like the blob of like a blob. So you're fighting a blob, but if the blob is a picture, your guy is still a sprite, and he does kind of like a jump and waves his little arm around and jumps back, and the screen will flash over the thing. So I got to make the sprites for the game, so the main character, and then if they have any other sprites in the game, just characters that'll be walking around in the background or something that you can actually see and talk to. Which I think I'm not going to have a lot of other sprites besides the main character. I think I have. I don't know. I'll play around with that. One or two. I know I want. So my main character is not going to be. It's not going to be like. It's supposed to be somewhat modern, so he doesn't get money by just finding stuff. You don't find treasure after killing things. Or when you go hunting for something, you don't find treasure just lying or money just lying around. You got to actually work for it. So
like
the
have a
guy's
job?
yes, but the premise is he's an exterminator. You know, he's the exterminator. Basically, what do you call a pest exterminator? But it's not like he doesn't go for like the roaches and stuff. It's more of animal control. So he takes care of like rats and stuff like that. So he was out on a job and got bitten by a werewolf, and needs to kill the first werewolf, not just the one that bit him, to be able to not be turned into werewolf the next time there's a full moon. So, but during all this, to be able to get any money and stuff, he still has to go to his job. Though his job is just going to a house, and he's got to get rid of, he's got to fight rats, bats, and stuff like that. And then because by doing that, he gains money, and with the money, he can buy better weaponry or whatever.
So he has to kill not the werewolf that bit him, but the very original werewolf
Yes.
that started it all?
Yes.
Okay. And
So
he goes into like more dangerous parts of the city and fights stronger monsters or pests or whatever.
Yeah. So for areas, I have a cave, a garbage dump, a farm, a forest, and then the big boss is going to be in like a mansion or / castle type area.
So he's exterminating in a forest?
Nope, that's
killing
part
all
of
the
the
wild
more of
animals?
that's more of the adventuring type of part of it,
Oh,
where he'll
okay.
run into other werewolves, but he'll still run into like bats and rats and stuff. There will be other houses. Oh, somebody has a heat gun.
Yeah.
There'll be there'll be like the town
And-
part.
I removed Seaport.
Nice. There'll be the town area, which will have just a bunch of houses and stuff, and those are the houses you'll be going to do the exterminating to get money. And there'll be a weapon shop or like a pawn shop, and then there'll be a shop where he technically works, where he'll go to there to get jobs that'll send him to other houses to do the exterminating. But once he gains money and stuff, he can then the story part will happen where he'll have to go like towards the cave where the werewolf that bit him is hiding out or whatever, or the garbage dump where there's another one, the scraggly looking werewolf is, and from there he's trying to find a way to figure out who the first is so he can kill him and not become a werewolf himself.
Now, will he have become a werewolf sometimes and have special powers?
I have not figured that part out yet.
Like, like some kind of special ability when he fights hard monsters, he can become a werewolf.
See, I've played around with the idea of having it so that what is a lunar cycle? However long a lunar cycle is that's how long the game itself is. So he has from the time he was bit until that many days to you have that many days to finish the game. Whether it's I don't think it's physically but you have that many times where it'll that many like saves or something like that. I don't know. I played around with that idea, but I'm just gonna go in with a basic right now. Not try to get fancy. So technically, no, I don't think there's gonna be anything like that. Any sort of special powers or anything. It's very basic. He's just a regular guy. The weaponry is like silver bullets would be an item, so it'd be like the equivalent of some games where you can use like a magic potion instead of this. He'll have a silver bullet, which would do greater damage to werewolves. He'll have a bat. He'll have a bat with spikes. What else did I come up with? Gun, shotgun, I think.
You remember when you were a kid and you talked to your friends and you would try to come up with the ultimate video game that would be the best video game ever and had all your favorite things in it, had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and had ninjas, had Bruce Lee, had Mike Tyson, had everybody in it.
This is not that.
That's what this conversation is. What is all the cool stuff we could put in Honkey's game, Just shove it in there.
This is very basic. Again, I'm not sure that with the whole with the outline I have right now, this could take I'm not sure if this game would last very long at all. It's like I said, it's very basic. I don't know. That's all I got so far.
Oh, before we move on, since we're already on the subject,
The Linux Gamecast.
forgot the music. All right. There's a game that I installed. It's pretty cool. It's called Dungeon Dash. It's command line RPG. I've forgotten all about this. Let me put it in the notes. Dungeon. It just goes to a GitHub page. So let me just grab it. So you just clone the GitHub and then run it. Says after create, you'll be welcome prompted to enter your character's name. After creating your character, you can choose a location, dungeon to explore. Combat. As you explore dungeons, you'll encounter enemies. Engage in turn-based combat by choosing actions such as attack, defend, use magic, use item, or run away. You can collect loot, defeat enemies and mini-bosses to collect items, weapons, and armor. These items can be used during your adventure to increase your stats. Level up, gain experience points from combat and exploration. Level up to increase your stats. For more challenging dungeon, your goal is to retrieve the pieces of a legendary artifact scattered across the dungeons. Defeat the mini-bosses, collect the pieces, and complete your quest. And then below there, it kind of gives the different dungeons and what you'll find in them and stuff like that. Oh, anyway, that's something for people to try. Dungeon Dash. Console RPG.
So you tried it?
Oh, no. I just installed it, but I didn't try it.
Oh, all right.
I got something happened during installation. I think I got a call from work or something. I guess I should have made that clear. I didn't ever actually play it. So this isn't really a review for the game. But I did play for the old heads out there, I played the original Dragon Quest 1.
Yep.
And beat that, and Dragon Quest 2 I'm currently playing now. And just these are the Android remakes of the NES Dragon Quest games. I'm telling you, man, they're fun. They're pretty fun. If you're looking, because I was looking for just a little simple RPG that didn't have all this crazy stuff you have to keep track of, and min-maxing and all the stat counting and like a million different ways to combine things. I wanted something really simple, really old school, but that was fun to play, and I can definitely recommend the first two Dragon Quest games, whether you want to play them on an emulator or play them on your phone, Android, whatever. And I've had a lot of fun with them. I mean, they're super simple, nothing complicated, and it's very basic story. Got to save the girl, defeat the evil guy. Yeah, I'd recommend them.
I bought Tiny Tina's Wonderland for like $3 on Steam.
What's
Playing
that?
that?
What's that?
Yep.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Did you buy Tiny Tina's Wonderland, or did you buy the oh gosh, what is it? The Assault on Dragon's Keep.
Now Joe's doubled
No,
up.
just Tiny Tina's. It was something they had where it was like Chaos Pack or something. It was supposed to be Tiny Tina's Wonderland and Borderlands 3, for like $14.99, but I already had Borderlands 3, and for whatever reason, it just came up as like $3.50 or something like that. So I bought it. It's a lot
Was
of
it
fun.
on a summer sale?
Is
No,
it any
it was
good?
just the other day. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Okay,
It's like
well,
Borderlands, but a little bit fantasy-ish.
I had heard some really, really terrible reviews about it, which is why I never got it.
What'd they say?
Oh, a lot of the mechanics are not well done, and that the characters are a little flat. And for a looter shooter, there's really only like one major setup that works well.
I don't know. I've been playing it. Now, my only thing is, it's relatively easy. I think I need to restart it and on a harder difficulty or something. It's just a lot of chess like every 2 seconds. I mean, I did not expect that. I mean, you there's no chance you could ever run out of ammo. But
Well, I haven't played that one yet. I might if you say it's good. I did play High on Life though, or some of it.
So
how was that?
That's
Uh,
been popular lately, but I don't know what it is.
I think the gameplay just kind of sucked.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? A simulation or what is it?
It's a looter shooter.
Oh, okay.
It's not very open, I don't think. Maybe it is later on, but I only played like through the first couple of rounds, levels, whatever. And I just was not impressed. Yeah, it had the voices from the people from Rick and Morty, but
Did you watch the
still.
Rick and Morty anime?
No, was there a Rick and Morty anime?
Yeah, I keep seeing it advertised on Max. I haven't seen it.
Yes, I think there's 4 episodes out. The most recent episode came out today, Fridays. Comes out on Fridays. But it's a Japanese anime style, and it's just 1 season. They're not, from what I read, they're not planning on doing anything
Evidently,
more.
it's not coming out under the normal title because it's not hitting my automation.
No, it's Rick and Morty, the anime. It is a single, separate season. Just like Vindicators was.
I'm not a big Rick and Morty fan, or don't know anything
What?
about it. Don't know anything about anime either. So
What?
I can't really. I just see it advertised. I heard you say Rick and Morty, so
Well, to be fair, most anime is terrible.
also I'm vindicated.
Yeah.
I only watch good anime. I can
No.
recommend some for you, Danny.
What are you doing here, Mornsey? You got 2 windows?
Sure it looks
I
like it,
shouldn't.
doesn't it?
What happened to Bob?
He renamed himself Mordency.
Oh, okay. Or Bill? What was it? Bob, right? Dave.
How did you get Bob? Hey,
He's
Dave.
I switched from my phone to my laptop.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it's not disconnecting the laptop
All right.
or the phone.
I could put something funny there. There it goes. Went away. Dave didn't make it to the mumble.
He said he couldn't hear anything, and I told him to call me on my phone. That's why I closed Jitsi on it.
Now, you remember your friend Joe? He couldn't handle it either.
well, Joe's having a hard time here right now. Why is your audio
where's
so
that
watered?
feedback coming back?
I don't
It's
know.
from Joe.
Hold
Oh.
on. Sometimes what happens is my camera decides to disconnect and reconnect, and that causes it to switch microphones.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
No, I should be on the correct one. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you just fine. It's the problem is we also hear background noise. Like, are
I
you
don't-
near a fan or
I don't
am
hear
near
it.
several
did somebody
fans. I
flush
don't
the
know
toilet?
if you're aware, but this is Texas.
I don't hear it now.
Is it?
Do you hear it, Honkey? I don't hear it anymore.
No, it's fine right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I had switched away from my microphone and back to the correct microphone. Even though it was saying it was on the correct microphone, I assumed something happened. All right.
Yeah. I got
Southern-
double vaxxed today. I'm starting to feel it.
Double toil and trouble.
Got the flu shot and the other shot that we cannot talk about. But I can definitely tell I got something.
Vaccines cause autism.
No, they don't. That's,
You got more 5G nanobots?
yeah. I can feel myself turning gay now. No.
Just now?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing on the
Seriously?
screen to be attracted to, so except Mordency. Maybe Netminer if I could hear him, see him. Yeah, that's still happening, Joe. What is? Do you hear it too, or is it just?
Yeah, I can.
Hold on.
It is
hold on.
coming from Joe. Son of a gun. Yeah, but I can feel it. Because I wanted to get them before I went on my trip, because I didn't want to be sick on my trip. That'd ruin everything.
Did you get Japanese encephalitis, hepatitis A and B, rabies?
Yeah, I told them, give me whatever you got, and they stacked all these needles together to make one giant needle, and just
You go to Passport Health.
And they gave me the AIDS vaccine, monkeypox, Hong Kong flu. What else? I don't know. What were some rickets? They gave me the rickets vaccine.
Rickets.
They gave me shingles. They gave me whooping cough, a croup or whatever.
That's group.
Croup.
See, they didn't give him the vaccine. They just actually gave him those things.
They gave me
They had people who were sick with him just come into his to the room one at a time and just sneeze on him.
polio. I got Lyme disease vaccine, yellow fever. I can't think of any more diseases. Tuberculosis. What's that one that's going around now that's up in the Northeast, Honkey, where they had to have not a mandatory but voluntary make people go inside, curfew. They killed a few people. It's a mosquito-borne disease.
Oh, all right.
Equine something.
Equine encephalitis.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Actually, there's one case, and the local, there's one case in a human. There was one case in an equine, and the local health departments go into complete lockdown mode because somebody might be bit with a mosquito that might or might not have the disease.
Can't you just wear it off or something, or long sleeves, or?
But that wouldn't demonstrate the power of the health department.
Oh, I got you. They're flexing their muscles on people.
Right.
Yeah, I heard in the news they make it sound like it's Armageddon or something,
Oh, of course. End of the world.
Oh, Zika, I got that vaccine. Remember Zika? That's still in the news. What's the one that the other mosquito one that they spray for? West Nile. Down here we have West Nile. So they have these big trucks that spray at night when it gets a certain number of people get it. Are there any fun diseases that you can catch? Any that gives you powers or something? I guess not. Isn't there just a disease you can get
Should
that
look up
makes you
pretty leprosy.
that makes you speak a language that you don't know, or some kind of brain condition or something like that? You heard of that, Mordency?
Yes.
Like people have a stroke or something, all of a sudden they can speak like a foreign language they never knew before or something. Yo, you're feeding back again.
Awesome.
Quit doing that. So, I wanted to give a book review, but I think I'll kind of save it for. I wanted to do a show for Hacker Public Radio, but I'll talk about one section of the book because I thought it was real interesting. The name of the book is called what am I reading? And I'm actually reading it. I'm not listening to it either. Oh, Comfort Crisis. The Comfort Crisis. That's what it's called. And it kind of centers around this guy who's wants to get out of his comfort zone. It's a nonfiction. So he's going on this caribou hunt for 5 weeks in the Alaskan tundra. Kind of extreme. But where'd the Honkey go? Is he still listening? Are you listening, Honkey?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I think you'll find this interesting.
I'll listen
too.
to you brag about how you actually physically read.
Yeah, you bumpkins have to have it piped into your ear holes. I use my eyes like God intended. Anyway, it's called Comfort Crisis. I recommend everybody.
The only hole that
reads
you have
it.
anything piped into is evidently not your ear hole.
It's my eye holes. So.
Are you sure you don't watch Rick and Morty?
I don't. Should I? Maybe
Eye holes.
Maybe I'm missing some references here. I mean, I've seen a few episodes. I just didn't think it was that great. I didn't laugh out loud or anything. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Yeah, so they had this chapter just on boredom, and the guy's like, we have a comfort crisis in like the Western world, where we have kind of all our conveniences taken care of, and where we have become consumers instead of producers. I think we've talked about stuff like this before, but basically all our needs are met and we just want like entertainment or something simple to fill our time without using any effort, and we have to have it all the time. Like he gave these different studies, like how the average person in the West spends almost 3 hours a day using their phone, 11 hours a day using some kind of digital device, and he's saying that we basically become like these blobs that are just receptors for entertainment. And he said we've gone through 100,000 generations without any kind of digital devices, before we came to this point. And that according to these studies, what's happening is we don't realize it, but we're experiencing a type of mental fatigue because our brains basically have these two modes. They have a focus mode, which is what happens when we use our phones or the internet or watch TV or anything like that. And we have an unfocused mode, which is basically when we're not focusing on, we're just bored, basically. But he said that bored period is necessary for your brain to kind of renew itself. It's similar to sleep, that unfocused state of your brain. And when you're always focused on a task, you become mentally fatigued, and it also has effects on your health as well. So he's saying we're not wired to always have some kind of shit piped into our ears or eyes at all times just to keep us from being bored. He said some boredom is actually good for you. And what they did was they took, this was for younger people, they took young people and took away any kind of digital devices or entertainment and kept them in a controlled environment. I don't know if it was a lab or whatever. And they would do MRI scans on their brain or CT, and they saw the part of your brain that activates when you focus and does not activate when you're not focused. And they said these young people experience withdrawal symptoms like you would from drugs, from like an addictive substance, just from not having that kind of digital distraction at their beck and call, you know. And they didn't say anything like this is going to lead to this or whatever, like something drastic. But in my own mind, I've always thought there's something wrong with like the frictionless existence, like to not have any kind of boredom or even like suffering, you know, like small s suffering. I don't mean like starvation. Just think about what our parents and our grandparents did or went through, and how we fill our time today. And I think that's I don't think there's ever a free lunch, is kind of what I'm saying. I think that's going to come back and harm us in a certain way that we're not really aware of yet, because it's so new still in the grand scheme of things. And because we're, you know, for all those generations of evolution, we just weren't wired to have that constant distraction in our lives. So I don't know what's going to happen to us, but something's going to happen. I think it's going to affect us in the long run somehow. I don't know how you guys feel about boredom or being away from your mobile phone or being away from a computer for an extended amount of time, but for me, I just after reading this book, I notice how many times I pick up my phone and look at it when I don't need to. Like when nobody has actually contacted me or called me or something, I'm just picking it up to look at nonsense, you know, just because I feel bored at the time. Or how many times I've delayed doing something actually constructive and productive because the easy alternative is to watch a show or to look online or do something like that. And I've started to notice that now that I'm actually looking at myself in that way, I'm noticing how often I do that. And I'd really like to not do that as often. I think I'd be a lot more productive as a human being rather than as just this blob that needs to be entertained at all times. You know what I mean? You guys ever considered anything like that? Especially with younger people, I think, kids and things like that.
So, describe to me what about this downtime and boredom.
So, what he's saying is because we are so averse to boredom now, because we're in such a connected society, that boredom, even standing in line, he mentions, or waiting at a red light, people pull out their phones because they can't wait 30 seconds or a minute and look at their surroundings, or just can't wait in line and look at the people around them. They always have to have something that fills their time. But he says that you need that boredom, even though it may be uncomfortable, just so that your brain can he describes it the way you go to a gym or the way you exercise, is you put a lot of stress on your body, but then you also need the rest time for your body to recover. And he says the brain needs the same thing. And he actually cites studies. It's not just talking about his ass, where they've done scans of the brain and things like that. He said you need that boredom just so your brain can recuperate and work better when you have to focus the next time. So it's leading to a lot of overstimulation to where we aren't able to focus the same way that we used to because we don't have the rest time in between where we recover in the unfocused mode.
Again, describe the boredom.
What do you mean by describe the boredom? Like, what does he mean by boredom?
So I work 8 hours a day where I'm not touching any sort of device or anything.
Mm-hmm.
My phone is in my pocket. I pretty much don't look at it at all. I got it every once in a while. I might get a notification on my watch. I do a quick glance. I make sure that it's not my wife who needs something, and then I'm on with my day. There's no computer in front of me. I'm not checking my phone every 2 minutes just because there's nothing to look at. There's nothing I want to look at. So I have that. But I mean, there's music playing on in the background because there's always background music in a fucking store. And does that count as boredom, or is the fact that I'm focused also on working during that time not count as boredom?
Well, you're focused on working, but I think your mind has a chance to think about other things while your hands
my mind
are working.
can think about whatever all day long.
Right.
It's not my job does not take any mental energy really. It's mostly physical.
And so I think that's healthy. I think that's what he means. He especially makes a point of young people that are constantly connected nowadays and aren't able to detach from the connected world and from the electronic devices just because it's almost become a force of habit. Like, I'm in IT, so I'm always staring at a screen, but I've also got a second monitor next to me playing bullshit like YouTube and news and things like that. And even when I get home, I'll watch TV or I'll look at my phone, and I don't give... So my situation would be different from yours, more than likely, that I don't give my brain a chance to decompress and just be bored. Give my mind a chance to wander and things like that. Sometimes I do, but not often. Not often enough. So I would say this doesn't apply to everybody. Like, in your position, you have a chance where your brain can wander and you can have thoughts and collect your thoughts in ways that are constructive, I think.
And I don't find that as a positive.
Why?
Because personally, I'd rather have the ability to have like a headphone in and get some sort of like, whether it's a podcast of some information, something like, I could listen to some an audio book, something more than just my own thoughts. Because wandering around, the only thing I can think there's less things that a person can think of because they've pretty much sat down and thought out most everything that they've wanted to think about.
Okay, so yeah, I see what you're saying. So
my mind can be doing other things than just sitting there doing nothing. I gain absolutely fucking nothing from just wandering around not with absolutely nothing. Now, if you're doing something but constructive with that time, that's different.
But here's my point: is that you're an outlier. You got 8 hours of this. Now imagine if you were in my shoes or a kid's shoes, where you're constantly focused on looking at information all the time, absorbing information, absorbing entertainment, looking at bullshit all the time, all freaking day long, and then I'm not using, like, you have an overabundance of what I should be using is a board or a time like that where I'm not focused on anything. So I would say that you are on the extreme other end, where if you had some entertainment or something valuable that would fill your time, like learning a new language over audio or something like that, or an informational podcast, that would be good, but you wouldn't want that to happen 24 hours a day or 16 hours a day, however long you're awake for.
True.
Because you need time to actually think about what you've absorbed and for your brain to process things too. And I think the point he's making is that many of us don't give ourselves that time to process the information we've taken in, or what he calls junk food for the brain. What we're focusing on is just something that gives us a fleeting dopamine rush, just immediately, instead of
Do you
something.
guys find yourself more attracted to YouTube Shorts these days?
I don't, because I don't want to, because I stayed away from TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, to me, it looks like the same thing. So I don't.
It is.
Yeah, I don't want to do that, because I know I'll fall down that freaking rabbit hole.
It does set off, a certain portion of your brain, because it is that instant gratification, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more. So yeah, I guess that's probably the similar idea of overstimulation.
And he also makes a point that a lot of people have a problem now with delaying gratification, because it's so convenient to access now, instant gratification, like Joe said, and that a lot of times, if you delay gratification in the short run, you can accomplish better things in the long run, be more productive with your time that leads to better things in the long run if you delay short-term gratification. So that's kind of, that one chapter is what he goes over. Now, there's a whole bunch of the other book that's really interesting. I think you guys would enjoy it, but yeah, I definitely noticed after reading that book I need to work on my own.
On delaying your gratification?
Yeah, what would you call that? Like your digital habits or whatever, or digital hygiene or something, or
Tantrum.
No, it's nothing sexual, you jackasses. It's just I need to.
And this is why you don't have a girlfriend.
Actually, I do a lot of
tantric.
Don't listen to Joe.
No, I do a lot of stuff where I'm listening to HFY science fiction on YouTube, which is sometimes 20 minutes, whatever. But the deal is, also, when I'm not online, at least some of the time, I do my own creative writing.
So you're actually being productive with your time.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that's a fraction of the time that I'm actually, absorbing, like you said, content that might as well be TV.
Yeah, I hope. I don't know really where to start as far as like how to unplug myself, like what would be the best way to go about it. I mean, even when I'm at the gym, I'm listening to music, so I'm not, just because it motivates me, I'm not really trying to fill time with it, but it just motivates me to work out. But I don't know really what to do, to where to start anyways. Like filling my time with productive. I know how to be productive, but how to, like, should I limit, like, don't they have those apps where you limit, it tells you how much you're using your cell phone and to quit using it at this time, and
yeah, they got them set up for kids.
Yeah, I'm not really a cell phone guy, but I do grab my cell phone for no reason sometimes, and I notice that just because it's easy and it's there and it's like instant gratification. Oh, okay, here's a news story I didn't know about or whatever. So what I thought about doing, because a lot of the news I read I post to Lemmy in the different communities that I run on there. So I thought about just taking a break from my RSS feed and just don't worry about, because I'm basically the only one that keeps those communities running. I mean, they have a lot of subscribers, but I'm the one that's adding the content. And just don't add anything for a while, and turn off the RSS feed, because it's always scrolling on my right on my monitor on the other side RSS feed. But and it's not really things I need to know either. It's not relevant to what I'm actually doing. It's just interesting to me. I think that fills a lot of my time. I could probably do that, and just not worry about keeping those communities going for a while.
I have a suggestion.
What's that?
Think about getting an alarm clock or a dual alarm clock and giving yourself from 8 o'clock till whatever 11 o'clock is no digital time.
Oh, you mean be an adult and regulate yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that regulating yourself, but maybe you need if you had something that would say this is time to shut down the digital side.
That is a good idea, Netminer, especially in the evening, because a lot of times I tend to stay up too late. I have this feeling that I don't want the day to end. What do they call it, like FOMO or whatever? I'm just like, there's still things I want to do and look at and see and read about, but I don't. It's not anything that's necessary to my life, I don't know. Do you guys ever struggle with that? Mornsey or Joe, or disconnecting from digital devices and having your decompression time?
I have a problem disconnecting from work. I'm still logged in from this morning, working on the screens instead of plugging my personal laptop in, so my screens are covered with other stuff.
But do you ever give yourself time just to not be looking at screens?
Yeah, for a couple months every year, and when I go to Thailand, got very limited screen interaction.
During your just regular life, though.
No. While I'm working, I have a TV next to me with stuff going.
Yeah, I can't say that.
When I go to bed, I turn stuff on. If I'm not tired and stop watching something, I'll put on music videos. I usually have something going on.
Me too. I'm like that too. Or I've got listening to podcasts or anything like that. Now, when I go to Japan, I'll be away from that, but I'll be stimulated by just what's going on in front of me, like all the new sites and things to see. So it doesn't really count. But when I get back home, that's something that I really want to work on. So the next show, I won't really be able to give you a report on this, but I guess October's show, I'll give my full report. I'll keep a kind of journal going, see how it goes, see if I've improved my focus and productivity and things like that. And also, I wanted to read this book rather than listen to it, because I wanted to practice my focus of actually reading the printed word, instead of just having it going on in the background where I'm doing something else. So. And even getting back into the habit of reading a book is not easy. Which I used to be a huge reader. All books all the time. Fell out of the habit. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. You want to get into the movie?
Sure.
Well, I will say, this movie was not terrible.
No, it was fine.
I don't think it was good either, but at least it wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible. I'll give you that.
LinuxLUGcast.
Okay, the movie we're talking about tonight, from 2022, called Kimi, directed by Steven Soderbergh. Did y'all notice in the beginning it was an HBO production?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
saw
thought that
that.
was interesting. So was it never at theaters then?
No.
Okay, so it just made for HBO streaming, I guess, or Max or whatever it's called now.
Mhm.
So it, Zoe Kravitz is the protagonist. She's really cute, I think. You guys think she's cute? I think she is. I think it would be
Yes, very cute.
hard to date somebody like that, but very
With
cute.
somebody that won't leave the house.
Yeah, somebody with a few issues,
Quirks.
quirky.
Where are you gonna go? Who wants to go out?
So, the name of the movie is Kimi, and Kimi is basically Alexa. What Alexa is, started by this startup company that does the same thing. It's like a little Joe. You're feeding back again. It's basically a small device that you put in your living room or whatever, and you say, "Hey, Kimi," and tell it what to do. Turn out the lights, record you, turn on music. Whatever Alexa does, it does.
Integrates with the computer too.
Right, integrates with the computer, and it belongs to the startup company called Amygdala. How do you say that? Amygdala. Yeah. And the difference, they say, is that they have actual human beings that monitor, not exactly monitor, but any time that Kimi doesn't get something right as far as understanding your voice, an engineer will get a log of that response and adjust the code so that Kimi works properly next time you address it, which is what our protagonist does. She's a programmer that works for Amygdala, and she gets these streams coming in, and she goes through each stream just like you would do on GitHub, where you are fixing bugs and adjust the code so that Kimi can understand it the next time. And so she happens to get a stream of a woman yelling and basically being hurt by somebody because Kimi happens to be recording this, and she falls into a big conspiracy involving the company too. I don't want to give away too much because I think this movie is kind of decent, so I don't want to spoil it, but it's a conspiracy that involves the company she works for. So her whole mission is to try and find out what was going on when Kimi recorded this and somehow get to the authorities. But the problem is she has an extreme fear of leaving the house. They mentioned at one time she was attacked, and maybe that has something to do with it. And also she mentions COVID quite a bit, and so that probably has something to do with it. She's always putting Purell on her hands, and she's kind of has a relationship with the guy that lives across the street, but she won't even go outside to meet him. He has to come to her house. And anyway, all this stuff is preventing her from interacting with the outside world. And so the kind of last half of the movie is her actually leaving the house and trying to resolve the whole mystery of the stream and what happened and things like that. And honestly, it's pretty slow up until the last quarter or third of the movie when she leaves until she leaves the house. There's kind of some interesting tech going on though, as far as like how she analyzes the streams and eventually pulls out analog equipment to to change the frequencies and the bandpass filter and all this other stuff, and I think it's in the back of my mind too, because she has to gain access to the device where she got the stream from, so she can figure out who this happened to. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm sure Amazon engineers can do the same thing with your Alexa device if they wanted to, and I wonder if this movie is kind of like pointing that out to you, that you don't really have any privacy if you have this type of device in your living area, because at any time people could just listen or anything, to what you're saying and find out who you are and things like that. I don't know how all that works, because I don't have a Amazon Alexa, but I mean Google, Hey Google and Siri, I'm sure kind of the same concept as well. So.
And Cortana.
Cortana, yeah. Any of the voice assistants that you don't control would probably have that same kind of access. But it's basically kind of just a thriller, a tech-inspired thriller, and conspiracy, things like that. It actually reminds me of kind of two Gene Hackman movies that were combined. One is called Head of State with Will Smith. And the conversation, Enemy of the State. I'm sorry, and the Conversation, which is a really good Gene Hackman movie too. It's an older one. If people haven't seen that one, you should check it out. But yeah, has some interesting surveillance tech going on in it. What was the Russian guy's name? Ivan or Yuri? Yuri. They could locate anybody for I think $50,000, something like that. But I would say it's an okay watch. I mean, like I said, it's pretty slow until you get towards the end, and the acting is okay. I think Zoe's good in it. The other actors, they're acceptable. But what do you guys think?
Well, I thought it was a good movie. It was
definitely a tech movie.
It was kind of I don't want to say bland, but it was just kind of...
No, it was bland, and the only reason you guys think it was a good movie is because it wasn't the shit show our last few movies.
I'm not saying... I never said it was a good movie. I said it was an okay movie.
Yeah, it was an okay movie, which is about the best you can say for it.
Right.
It was extremely not bad. It was extremely not bad.
How about extremely unremarkable?
Extremely unremarkable would also be
that works too.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything that makes a movie was there, except anything innovative.
Right. Well, there's nothing exciting about the movie. Let's put it that. The I think the most exciting part was when there was this whole background thing about what they were kicking homeless people out of
I don't understand how that even played into it.
Yeah, that didn't play into anything besides the fact that there was a protest in one area and the protesters help her not get kidnapped in the car.
Yeah.
That didn't play into it at all. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't understand why the guy across the street got all hung up on the fact that she doesn't want to go out to dinner. Just fucking stay home and cook something.
It said she never wanted to leave the house.
Yeah, like she wouldn't even meet him.
Most guys wouldn't complain about a girl that just calls them over and most guys, wouldn't complain about a girl that just calls them over to bang the gong and then says, "Go home, I don't want you here."
But I think this guy actually wanted a relationship with her.
Yeah,
and that was the point.
Relationship, but you don't have to go out.
I like to go
cook
out.
dinner at the house.
He specifically said that he was trying to, actually have a relationship with a person and do things and blah,
like
blah,
a normal
blah,
couple.
Blah, blah. Do the adult thing.
I don't know, don't freak out about it. Maybe you can ease her into something. But just to constantly push it, I think it's just a dick move on his part.
Look, this movie even had gratuitous nudity, and I'm still saying meh.
Yeah, meh is the if there's a not thumbs up, not thumbs down. That's
we have a half thumb. Yeah.
Well, we gotta have lots of half thumbs.
We just add up the half thumbs.
Yeah.
she even got mad at him for like not buzzing before
Yeah,
he came to the door. Like even though he
there's-
said he was going to be right there.
that's less the agoraphobia. That's more of like an OCD thing.
Yeah, and she's always cleaning her hands, her
Taking pills.
and everything.
all her
She-
teeth.
she-
She brushes her teeth constantly.
But after sex, she had to wash the sheets directly afterwards.
She showers before she might go outside.
Right. She showers after everything, doesn't she?
Pretty much.
Man.
She sneezed hard, so she went and took a shower.
Yeah, I give it a half a thumb. What about you? Mortensen said thumbs up.
Yeah,
Look,
I'll give it a thumbs up.
I'm serious. I think the only reason we think this movie was even halfway decent is because it's not the crap show everything else has been.
No, I think you have a point. I agree.
All I watch is violence and horror and action and
Me too.
a slow burn with a good storyline that did character development. You knew why she was doing everything. They introduced everything organically. It didn't seem like it was forced down your throat that she had been assaulted, that it caused problems, that she was doing well until COVID, and now it all made sense. And I think the playing into the technology that's aggregating your data and you're not can't be singled out being completely untrue being pointed out was enjoyable. Like it was nice to hear that said.
Cathartic, yeah, for sure. I will say one thing that they did kind of force in this, which made me stop down a little bit, was connecting the random scream that she heard back to the company itself. For that to be so coincidental that one bad audio she heard that makes her worried for this person actually has to do with the company she's working for. So
I wasn't even sure that it was the same company. I mean, you knew that Kimi was around and Kimi was doing shit, but then they were talking about that guy having a startup that was worth $100 million and it was going to be making him money a very short amount of time. And
yeah, you can see in the very beginning, he's in his garage pretending like that's before they even get an office building. He's like pretending he's got a bookcase behind him. He's just sitting there with the top part of a suit and in his underwear and lying about all these people that work at his office and things like that.
I liked that setup. I might have a similar setup when it comes time to do interviews.
Yeah, I should do that. I need to put a bookcase behind me. But I give it a half a thumb. Mortensen gives it a full thumb.
I give it a half.
Yeah, that's 2 thumbs, 2.5 stars. All right.
'Cause like I said, it had all the stuff that made a movie. It just wasn't riveting.
I probably could have shut it off and walked away and not felt bad about it.
And still been able to figure out everything else that happened throughout the rest of the movie. And
Right.
yeah, at the end, she did have her little redemption.
Of course.
Yeah, she did. So I think that enabled her. Then she could probably leave the house or whatever.
That's what
I
they
don't know.
showed her
That's what they
outside
showed.
at the
Oh, that's
the
right.
hot dog truck.
They were at the truck, right? The food truck.
Right.
The egg
Food
truck.
She had pink hair instead of blue hair this time.
Right.
Rip.
So did you watch BBS, the documentary?
No, I never got
You
around
know.
to it. Did you?
I watched, I got about 4 episodes in.
Did you really?
So I made it up to, I finished the part about FidoNet.
What'd you think?
It's interesting.
Okay.
I mean,
I just completely forgot about it.
I've never been I never ran a BBS, so that I didn't realize that people were trying to. I kind of knew some people were trying to get money for it, but it's usually they were offering other things. So the only ones I went to were there was like 3 free ones around, I just went to them. And the games, I mean, I did. I couldn't get into. They talked a lot about Trade Wars. I tried to play Trade Wars, but I couldn't get it, so I just stopped. I played Legend of the Red Dragon a lot, though. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So I will check it out.
Been so
All right.
long.
Got the new movie here. Never heard of it. Let's see. It's called Brian and Charles from 2022.
Ryan and Charles?
The synopsis is, after a particularly harsh winter, Brian goes into a deep depression, completely isolated and with no one to talk to. Brian does what any sane person would do when faced with such a melancholic situation. He builds a robot.
Of course. What anyone would do.
Link in the show notes here. I remember seeing the trailer for this. I remember it was made like out of a washing machine or something.
You're making it sound like weird science.
So I see. So it's streaming. It's not available to stream for free. So I'll add it to the NextCloud to download. Prime Video, you have to pay for it to rent it. Oh, Watch with the Stars subscription. Oh, I did. Here's something I did. I forgot to tell you guys. I went to this play called Free Play. It was an arcade where you pay like $14 when you go in, and you can play all the games for free.
My kid was talking about that.
They have a bar. Yeah, I went to the one in Arlington. There's one in Richardson too, and somewhere else. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. Went there with some friends. We played a lot of pinball. They had what do you call it? Like you know, the all the old arcade games, Pac-Man. They had a tournament or a Pac-Man something where 4 people can play at the same time. We played that. That was awesome.
How is it different than the cidercade?
It's the same thing, except they don't just serve cider. They have liquor and beer and stuff there too. And they have food there too. Actually, I ate while I was there. I had a Cuban sandwich. It was pretty good.
Oh, good.
But Free Play, I guess it's a chain or a franchise or something. Oh, I think it's a franchise because one of the girls that was there said that each one is like completely different depending on who owns it.
Well, gentlemen, amazing grace. We may actually complete a show. We started well, there were people here nearly on time, or on time, and we're ending a show before midnight Eastern time.
We haven't ended yet. We've got about 20 more topics to cover.
Break my heart. Since I like you, I'm not going to try to sing the rest even if I knew it.
Thank you. So, what do you guys think about the Internet Archive losing their appeal? How bad is that?
I don't know what extent they were, how big their whole book sharing was for them. I mean, is legal fees going to hurt them a lot? Is it going to? They think they're going to get less use. I don't think there's no way they can get less users from IA. IA is just way too big.
Yeah, what I'm worried
Do you
about is
think
like
it's-
legal fees and things like that, where they'd be able to cover.
Well, I'm wondering whether this will set a precedent with just attacking IA now, though.
Like for anything, not just these
Right.
books.
Right.
I have no idea about their financial situation or anything like that. Like, I know they're donation driven and they get grants too. Is this going to affect their grants? Like,
Well, I
be
also
less
don't.
likely to get grants?
I don't understand how just because it's not a how is it their whole system with the books worked that it fell under the category
Okay.
of not the same
So-
as like a library.
Well, because they didn't follow the rules for a library.
Oh, okay.
Now, during the time of COVID, you were allowed to check out multiple copies of a digital book, right? But most of the time, you have to, in order to be a library, you have to, you can only check out one copy per digital copy that you own. You understand?
Yes.
So those rules were lifted for a short amount of time. And then when they were put back into place, Archive said, no, we'll just keep doing it the way we have been. And that was illegal.
But where did they get the copies from? From the actual booksellers, or?
From my
That I
understanding, they
don't know.
digitally scanned them.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Because don't libraries get it from like the publishers?
I believe so, yeah.
Libraries have to buy them. My understanding is libraries have to buy them, and after they've been read so many times, they're considered no longer rentable, as if it were a physical book and had degraded and needs to be replaced.
Really? Makes no sense.
0 cents.
Yes,
Right.
yes, correctly. Makes 0 sense.
So that
I
I
like
guess
how
they
the-
buy so they buy like a license then, right?
Unless you're trying to make money off of reselling the same bits. Unfortunately, the publishing industry will gladly sell you the same bits 1,000 times.
Yes, they would.
But
They'd
in
sell you
physical
your
book-
own soul.
A physical book, you can only buy it once, and then you can hand it around to your friends. You can resell it to a different store, and the person who wrote the book only got that money that first time it was bought.
Right.
See, the
Yeah,
whole-
but a person like that would have a different reach than Internet Archive. Or a library in general.
So are they saying that this cost them money?
More or less. Publishers are saying it costs them money, and so the courts are agreeing with said publishers.
Right. The publishers said they struck a blow for their authors.
Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering, like, how is this going to end? Like, well, just I guess there hasn't been an actual. Has there been a damage, like a monetary damage?
You know, if they've appealed,
Like, are they suing them for it? I don't know. They just lost the court case, so I mean, they can
Yeah.
then try to seek damages.
Well, I wish them the best.
Right.
You have everything from Lugcast, like archived, don't you?
I don't have all the audio files, no. All the audio files are on IA.
No. But I mean, I thought you had a physical copy.
Not of all 250 episodes.
You want me to pull those down?
If you want to try.
I think we should. Just in case. Joe, why do you have to do this?
Oh, am I feeding back again?
What is causing that? Is it your headphone feeding back into the mic? Or
What type of feedback is it?
it sounds like it's... I can hear myself, but it sounds like it's underwater or something, but it's coming from you.
It very well could be. This is a different headset than what I normally use.
So it's probably the mic
it's the
picking
same
up
brand.
the audio coming out of the headphone itself.
But I was rather close to something, so that might be reflecting the sound back. But it doesn't
okay.
seem likely. Whew. Let's see if I cause explosions.
Did you cause explosions?
Oh, nothing went boom, but no lights came on either. But who
No
knows?
magic smoke?
I need to get that one thing that you gave me.
What was it?
Multimeter?
Oh, yeah.
I just gotta find it. I know it's over here. Here we go.
There's something else I wanted to talk to before we sign off. I know that there's a site called, I think it's called PimEyes, PIMEYES, kind of like Tin Eye, but PimEyes that's been in the news lately. And it's basically a facial recognition search engine. But what's happening is, still feeding back, or Joe. What's happening is it's, people are uploading photos of women on there, and like coworkers and friends and things like that. And it will tell you what sites they have posted pictures of themselves to, like OnlyFans or nude photos, because it doesn't look for the photo you uploaded, it looks for the face as in facial recognition. And so what I read is that right now it can, I don't know how if they have a subscription, PimEyes has a subscription to all these OnlyFans and their other type of sites, but somehow they're able to gather data that's behind paywalls and stuff and show you. So there's kind of a big internet freak out right now about all these women that had posted nudes in places that they thought couldn't be found, teachers and places like people like that, and all of a sudden they're being found out because it's searching through facial recognition instead of exact image like a Google. But check that out. Telegram, that's kind of big news. They arrested the CEO of Telegram in France.
Really?
Oh,
Why?
yeah, you didn't hear that?
No.
Joe probably knows about that. He uses Telegram. He was charged with having committed criminal offenses, most of them seemingly related to the operation of Telegram. Basically people using Telegram to sell drugs, to do just different criminal activities, maybe child porn, stuff like that. I remember I read in the news there was one group that just traded animal torture videos, and they would have like monkeys that they would pay this people over in I shouldn't say the country because I'm not sure which country it was, but anyway, wherever these monkeys were common, pay them to torture these monkeys and buy the videos through Telegram. And so there was a lot of shady stuff. So basically, they're saying he didn't moderate Telegram like he should have.
Sounds like they were recreating the Silk Road.
Yeah, through a messaging app this time.
But that's different. I mean, all it is a messaging app. He didn't.
But it has a central server though that he or whatever company owns Telegram owns.
So because he wasn't monitoring the conversations between two different people on a central server, he's liable.
Yeah, basically, I think that's the gist of it. I just now put a link in the show notes.
You got to remember, you're dealing with Napoleonic law. You're guilty until proven innocent.
Okay, so it says EFF has a good article. It says there appear to be 3 categories of Telegram-related charges. First is the charge based on the refusal to communicate upon request from authorized authorities the information or documents necessary for the implementation and operation of legally authorized interceptions. This seems to indicate that the French authorities sought Telegram's assistance to intercept communications on Telegram. The second set of charges relate to complicity with crimes that were committed in some respect on or through Telegram. These charges specify organized distribution of images of minors with a pedopornographic nature, drug trafficking, organized fraud, and conspiracy to commit crimes or offenses, and money laundering of crimes or offenses in an organized group. The third set of charges all relate to Telegram's failure to file a declaration required of those who import a cryptographic system into France. Those are the 3 charges.
So basically, it sounds like France wanted Telegram, the Telegram, to let them snoop on their network. They said no. They said, "Well, fuck you. We're gonna ram you until you submit," because
he never submitted. So that's the arrest.
And he didn't submit, so they arrested him. And Trump made up a bunch of trumped up charges. How would anybody know if they can't get onto Telegram because it's all? How would anybody know that any of that stuff is actually happening through Telegram?
Maybe they had people infiltrating those groups, authorities.
So then they already have their way to get in there. Why are they worried about Telegram? All it is a communication device.
Because, well, Telegram is not just it's not a protocol though. It's a centralized messaging service like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. So
but that would be. Would you implement the phone company if people were doing nefarious things over the phone?
That's a good point. I don't know. Maybe
actually, phone systems have to have tap points on them. People don't realize that your telephone company, the FBI or somebody can tap in. Also, like you said, setting up a central server in France where they have different ideas about encrypted whatever is a dumb idea, and unfortunately, because he didn't register that he was doing encryption stuff and give the government the chance to say, all right, you can do your encryption, but we want to have backdoors, he's going down for that.
Well,
you know,
do we know that was something that was in place before he came there, or was that something that they created because he was there? And
I don't know at what time French. There have been countries that really frown on any kind of encryption, and I don't know how long France has been frowning on encryption that they haven't officially authorized.
Yeah, well, you see that even in the U.S. where government agencies try and say, give us a backdoor or we'll make you miserable.
right.
And I guess in some places it's legal to do.
Well, who was that guy who was who had a mail system? The government said that yes, he could be defended by a lawyer, but no, he couldn't talk to his lawyer about this stuff because it was national security stuff or whatever.
See, and here's something that I don't know. Maybe Joe knows. I know Telegram provides the way to communicate and the encryption, but do they have servers where media is stored, or is that stored on the client device?
That I don't know. I mean, it seems pretty stupid of them if they keep it on their servers.
Yes, it seemed like that would be definitely
A waste of fucking space.
stupid. Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is that a lot of this is all that you brought an encryption system into a country where the government really likes to have the back door, and we're going to blame you for everything that was done wrong because you didn't give the back doors to us.
Now, did he bring it into that country, or did he create this and then people started using it in that country? That's another question.
See, I don't know, because the charge just says failure to follow a declaration required of those who import a cryptographic system into France. To me, it sounds like there is a server in France. But like I said, I'm not a lawyer or anything. So
well, also, there's a lot of countries who are trying to import or export their laws. Like Britain has said that if they want to go after Americans for hate crimes as defined in Britain.
For things that they post online. Yeah, I saw that too, and I saw some interesting responses to, come try that shit.
Well, I think France may be doing the same thing for if a Frenchman can use your system, it has to be an authorized system.
See, you would think that if that material, that type of material, is actually on a Telegram server, that they would charge. They would have some kind of charge for that. All it says is they're just complicit with crimes that were committed in some respect on or through Telegram. It doesn't say that they actually had the. It just says they were complicit with organizing the distribution of, not that they actually had possession of these images and things like that. So,
well,
I still think it sounds like bullshit that they're just trying to trump up some charges to get a backdoor into Telegram.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little out there. Oh, and I want to mention, this works.
Go Beans.
nice.
I mean, it's not the prettiest soldering job I ever did, but it works. Now I got to check and see if it connects to a computer.
But I would say when I used Telegram in the past, it was mainly for tech support, because a lot of the manufacturers of single board computers like Orange Pi and Radshaw and Friendly Elec and stuff, they all have Telegram channels where you can ask questions instead of forums, and I mean, they may have forums too, but you can get answers really quick on their Telegram channels. That's what I used it for mainly. But I would say if you want a private conversation with somebody, not to use Telegram. I think it's optimal for that.
Well, I mean, basically, Skype used to be decentralized. Now it's got Microsoft servers all over it. You know, a lot of these, anything that goes through somebody else's server is subject to somebody cracking. The French are just well, you got to remember that the French are part of the European Union, and they wanted to have everybody who posted anything or reposted anything registered as a publisher. They still have those regulations that they're trying to get enforced in the EU.
Oh yeah. If you don't properly cite or pay or blah blah whatever.
And you would have to register with whatever EU organization, because you would have to be cleared to be a publisher and republish or whatever you wanted to do. They were basically trying to have their own overlay where all the data would have to be secured through a EU license to be accessible from the EU.
Now here's a interesting part of the article. It says, in addition to the refusal to cooperate with the interception, it seems likely that the complicité charges also or instead relate to Telegram's failure to remove posts advancing crimes upon request or knowledge, specifically the charges of complicity in the administration of an online platform to facilitate an illegal transaction and organized distribution of images of minors with a pedopornographic nature, drug trafficking, and organized fraud. Oh, you're feeding back. Could likely be based on not depublishing posts. An initial statement by Hoffman, the French agency established to investigate threats to child safety online, referred to lack of moderation as being the heart of their investigation. Under French law, it is a crime to knowingly allow the distribution of illegal content or provision of illegal services or to facilitate payments for either. In particular, this potential lack of moderation liability bears watching. If Durov is prosecuted because Telegram simply inadequately removed offending content from the site that is generally aware of, that could expose most every other online platform to similar liability. So basically a setting precedent.
Basically, what they're saying is that in the French universe, the protections that are given to things like YouTube and whatnot don't exist.
Right. They said it could set precedents for other online platforms.
YouTube, while behaving as a publisher, has been hiding behind the fig leaf that they're not a publisher, therefore they don't have to do the fine-grained observation of everything that's posted on their site. In America that flies, but in France they want you to moderate everything, which of course is impossible, but the French government can ask you to do it anyway.
Or they'll go the opposite way and over-moderate like YouTube does, and you can't even talk about certain subjects regardless of what you're saying about them.
Yeah, well, but you see, YouTube is using the American protections, but if this is why YouTube and Google and a bunch of these other things can be shut down in certain countries because they are not following their rules for moderation or censorship or whatever. Now, Telegram is a small fry, so it's also a warning shot to everybody else that the French government has decided to stick their fingers into the pie, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Here's just a quick hit since we're on the subject. Put the link in the show notes. This is the first time a man has been arrested for creating CP using AI. He's facing 20 counts of obscenity. So he did AI generated CP and was arrested by the Indian River County Sheriff's Office for prompting an AI image generator to make child sexual imagery and distributing it via the social media app Kick. So these aren't actual real images. They're AI created images, but they're being treated as if they were real.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's treated that way. And
what are you guys' thoughts on that?
You know, I think the person needs some serious help, and if he was distributing it, then that's also an issue. But it's preferable to him actually finding kids and doing horrible things to them. Still, jail forever.
Should that be considered just as bad as having actual real life images?
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy still needs removed from society one way or another.
There's obviously a screw fucking loose.
Right, wood chipper.
Well,
I see that somebody likes one of my favorite YouTube.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I find him eminently trustworthy.
I think that's an interesting kind of moral question: is how far removed from real life images is AI created images?
Again, nobody was actually, harmed, or no child was hurt during that. But I mean, it's still fucked up. And what's the line between fucked up and
go to prison?
Right.
Well,
what's the
I'm
line
not saying
between...
he shouldn't go to prison. I'm kind of saying that maybe his sentence should be a little bit less because he did something slightly less fucked up. But he still needs removed from society.
He didn't.
He didn't hurt any kids, which kudos for him.
All right.
What if he were to hand illustrate them in like a photorealistic way?
You see, I don't think you should be able to do that either here in America, but then they seem to do that quite a bit in Japan.
All right.
Oh, I didn't think about that. So is there laws in Japan regarding is it animated or illustrated CP like that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I know that I've sometimes watched anime that I really wish I had never watched.
Well, Mortensen said there's a lot of bad anime out there. Maybe that's what he meant.
I don't know.
Elfin Lied. I'll never watch that again.
So,
Those Who Want Elves is freaking hilarious. You shut your mouth, little girl. Go. Shoo.
I love that show, Daddy.
but But there's a
Good night, beautiful.
I think this question will be coming to the forefront, in at least within the legal news fairly soon, as these kind of models
Why
are
wasn't it there
distributed.
before? Because we've always had
Right.
You're
people
right.
drawing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we had this discussion about deepfakes too. Like, what would be the difference between illustrating a woman, an actress in a pornographic position, versus having an AI model do it, if they're both basically the same output, you know?
I think the hard part is how realistic. At least going back to what Joe said, Joe asked. The reason why it's more of a thing now is just because of the fact of, I think, of how realistic it is. You almost think that it did happen, even though it didn't. As opposed to before, where like an animated drawing is it's very obvious that didn't actually happen. You can just go and then move on, but it's not as. It doesn't feel as morally apprehensible as this does. But it's you almost can't though. You almost can't make
this
what are
distinction.
you gonna
Because
charge?
once you make this distinction, the next question. Once you make this distinction, is the next question is, well, what else can we get away with? What else can we do? What else skirts this line? How close can we get to this line? And so zero tolerance in this case has to be the policy.
So, like, yeah, but you're gonna fall down that hole of like.
Yeah, you can fall down the hole the other way too.
Stick drawing, is that?
Yeah.
You know, how realistic does it have to be before it's
And then you also run into the whole, well, if I'm just going to get in trouble for making a drawing or for making some AI, then I might as well go find a kid.
I didn't think of it. I don't know if you can make that leap or not.
Well,
quite the leap.
So
again, I think it's one of the things that happens with every new technology where the law has to catch up, because technology just goes ahead of everything. I know a lot of stuff, or I have heard, I haven't used it, a lot of stuff that goes on in Second Life is definitely against general legal, American legal precepts.
Is that what's like underage players, or?
Well, yeah, underage players, or I don't know if it's underage players, but certainly
underage avatars or something.
Forbidden relationships and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then again, also Second Life servers are wherever is suitable for Second Life's, a lot of this stuff is done or created in areas that have very loose standards for what is legal or not legal.
I think this is a situation where you can't file necessarily criminal charges, but there should be something like a forced psychological, institutionalized type of some sort of a thing like that, because clearly there's something wrong with this person mentally, but that no person was actually harmed in this situation where you can actually form any sort of charges.
Well, they're clearly going to try to use existing law, and then we will have to see if the lawyers can slice this one. Yeah, but I think we've covered this as much as we can, or, we will have to watch this space, this thing. Right now, I got to tell you that I'm running out of gas, guys.
I am too. Let me throw this out there real quick because it's just a real quick hit. It's an Android app called Screen Stream I found on F-Droid, and it's just a way to stream your Android device to a web browser. It's very simple. It does it through JPEG, so it doesn't share sound, but just image. But you don't have to set up any kind of. It doesn't go through a centralized server or anything like that. I put it in the show notes. Called Screen Stream. Screen streaming over HTTP to any web browser. I want to throw that out there if anybody wants to try it.
Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it. No, I haven't tried anything I talk about. I should try it, but I don't.
All right. Does anybody have anything else before we shut it down?
Good.
All right. Our next recording date will be September 20th, 2024. Our music is Downright, provided by Klaatu and Broam. I'd like to thank Minnix for the Mumble server, the Matrix server, the Lemmy server, for the lovely image of him just picking his nose.
You're welcome. Free of charge.
I've been your host this evening, Honkey Magoo. With us tonight has been Joe.
Good night.
Lugbutt.
Good night.
Minnix.
Good night, guys. I'll talk to you from the land of the rising sun next time you hear from me.
Morton C.
Good night, everyone.
And Net Miner.
Good night, folks.
All right.